Pats Nation, you guys already know who it is. It's your boy Colby, also known as Patriots Global, back here with another live stream. Boy, oh boy, I don't think I've ever done this many live streams in a 24-hour period. Now, I've done long live streams before. You know, we did last season for every single Patriots game, live watch parties. We did a 3.5 hour, 3-hour, 40-minute watch party, on round one of the draft a couple days ago. But I don't think I've ever done this many actual live streams in a 24-hour period. But, baby, we are back with another New England Patriots draft prospect breakdown. Moving on here to another fourth-round selection the Patriots had. The Patriots had about 3 fifth-round picks, and they actually decided they were going to use one of those fifth-round picks to trade back into the end of the fourth round to get defensive tackle Joshua Farmer. Big fan of this selection. We'll break it down here in just a second, but want to remind you guys to subscribe to the channel for all your New England Patriots news, thoughts, reactions, breakdowns, and of course, remember to like the video because it is the best way to support the channel. That is, of course, 100% completely free. Also pinned in the chat for you guys. I'll make sure to pin it in the comment section below too. The link to the playlist if you guys want to check out my other draft breakdowns on all of the selections the team just made. But I see you guys going off in the comments too. So for those who don't know, the New England Patriots just made a trade down. They had one more 7th round pick, but they traded with the Kansas City Chiefs. And now the Patriots have 2 7th round picks left. And we got Mr. Irrelevant, baby. Okay? For those who don't know, the final pick in the draft is known as Mr. Irrelevant. It's kind of messed up if you think about it, but he's known as Mr. Irrelevant. And because of the trade down with the Chiefs, the Patriots now have the famous Mr. Irrelevant pick. So it's going to be iconic. I mean, Brock Purdy was a Mr. Irrelevant pick. So sometimes those picks can actually turn out to be starters, man. I'm really excited to see what the Patriots have to do with that pick now. Having the Mr. Irrelevant pick just made that final pick in the 7th round that much more exciting for no reason. But let's go ahead. Let's transition here to Joshua Farmer. So the trade up details in order for the Patriots to have selected Joshua Farmer is the following. So the Patriots originally had pick 144. That was the beginning of the 5th round. They traded that to the Seattle Seahawks for pick 137, and Seattle got 144 and a 7th round pick 238. So this is really good value for the Patriots. I just want to say that here off at the start. You know, Joshua Farmer was projected to be somewhere between a 4th to 5th round pick, and the Patriots are essentially getting him as a 5th round pick. I mean, this pick in the 4th round was, I believe, like the second to last or third to last final pick here in the 4th round. So another very good value pick here by the Patriots. Mike Vrabel doing exactly what he told us he was going to do when he first was hired to be the head coach of the New England Patriots. And that is that he is going to address the trenches. I said this a billion times. I'm going to continue to tell you guys this a billion times. The trenches are the second most important thing in football. And the Patriots went out there in free agency and really addressed that defensive line. Now, with an addition like Joshua Farmer, some of the other additions that they've made in this draft class on the defensive side of the football, you feel pretty good about where the trenches are going for the Patriots. The O-line, the D-line, and Joshua Farmer, again, a very good value pick. The Patriots going best player available at a need for the team. Is he going to be a starter for you? No, but he's going to be a guy that's going to be a very good depth piece, a very good rotational piece at that. Some stats here I want to break off for you guys just at the top. Here with Joshua Farmer this past season, 9 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, an 88.5 PFF run defensive grade. That was top 5 among 2025 defensive tackle prospects. 33.5-inch vertical leap. What that tells us is that he showcases very rare athleticism for a guy his size. Now, overall, I think you can kind of see with the picture, a guy that isn't too big for a defensive tackle. I wonder if he can play maybe even a little bit of edge set there as just kind of like a big edge rusher at times. But, 6'3", 318 pounds. This is a Mike Vrabel type of defensive lineman, a guy that I've seen projected to go several times in mock drafts, analysts talking about this guy during the pre-draft process, somebody that was more so projected to be, like I said earlier, that 3rd round pick. So like I said, really like the value here for the Patriots, but a guy that is very good. Maybe I shouldn't say very good, but he's much more better. He's much more polished as a pass rusher from the interior of that defensive line. And we know that that's what Mike Vrabel wants from his defensive tackles, guys who are not there simply to be big bodies, to stop the run, to fill a gap, but he wants guys in the interior that are really going to be able to get to the quarterback. And there is so much value in guys, defensive tackles, guys in the interior of that D-line that can get to the quarterback because, like I tell you guys all the time, it's one thing to have good edge rushers, but if you don't have, an interior defensive line that can get to the quarterback, quarterbacks can still step up into the pocket, right? So if the interior of that O-line is still intact, but those edges are collapsing on you immediately, a quarterback's just going to step up into the pocket, throw the ball away, or deliver a throw. But if that pocket breaks down from the interior, there's nowhere for the quarterback to go, right? He's throwing off platform, he's throwing picks, he's throwing the ball away, he's getting sacked. That's why there's so much value getting that pass rush from the interior. And Joshua Farmer is going to be a guy that gives the Patriots a little bit more rotation there, right? You look at the Philadelphia Eagles, very beautiful blueprint on how the Patriots should be building this team from the bottom up. They're a team that they always address the defensive line. Even when they have, their top starters in that rotation, they still say, hey, we're going to take a guy in the second. We're going to take a guy in the third because we want to make sure that we have a defensive line that is fresh the entire game. And that's what Joshua Farmer is going to allow the Patriots to do. Yes, you have Christian Barmore. Yes, you have Milton Williams. But if those guys get injured, now you have Joshua Farmer that can step up to the plate and still deliver you a little bit of pass rush from the interior. The great thing about this, too, is that when the Patriots, start playing in some important games, they start playing in the playoffs, hopefully, start contending for another Super Bowl, they're going to be playing close games. And having a fresh defensive line that can get to the quarterback all game is so valuable because opposing offensive lines, they're going to get tired as the game goes on. But if you have so many good, like several defensive linemen that can get to the quarterback, your pass rush is going to be fresh all game while that opposing O-line is getting tired and starting to dwindle down. This is what PFF had to say about Joshua Farmer. They said, and I quote, Farmer is still a budding defensive lineman, even as an upperclassman. With some improved anticipation and technique, he can be a starting caliber pass rusher, although he must have a higher floor as a run defender to get on the field consistently. This is a guy who I'm going to be completely forward with you guys. Great as a pass rusher, not good as a run defender. And I think that's what's going to limit him early on. If he can get better as a run defender, even to an average level, he'll be a starter in this league. But until he can do that, he's going to be more of a rotational to situational guy, a guy that is on the field for obvious passing situations. That's what you're getting with Farmer, a guy that when they're going to pass the ball early on, third down situations too, Farmer's going to come on the field. But when they're going to run the ball, he's not going to be on the field much. When you're playing teams like the New York Jets, who are expected to be a heavy run-based offense, Joshua Farmer early on probably isn't going to be a guy that you see very much utilized in that defensive game plan. He had a pass rush win rate this past season of 9.4% with a 71.4% pass rush grade. Then you look at the run defensive grades, and you can really see that this is an area, in which he struggles. 4.6% run stop rate and a 61 overall run defensive grade. So a guy that's played all over the defensive line. Also, he's played in the A gap. He's played over the tackle. He's played outside tackle. He's even surprisingly, I think this is kind of crazy, he's played a little bit off the ball. That is a wild thought. Thinking of an interior defensive lineman, a defensive tackle, a guy his size, 300 pounds, playing off ball is absolutely absurd, but mainly plays in the B gap there. 435 snaps there this past season for Florida State. Like I said, overall, I really like the addition. I think it's really good value that the Patriots are getting here. A couple more things that I do want to talk about, when it comes to Joshua Farmer before we ultimately move on, get into the next prospect here. He's a 3-star recruit from the 2020 draft class. He does have a little bit of an injury history in 2023. He had a thumb injury, which required offseason surgery. He missed a bowl game, and in 2024 also missed some spring practices there. He did have an undisclosed injury this past season. We're not exactly sure what it was, but it limited him to missing one game. In 2022, he was an honorable mention freshman All-American, All-ACC academic team. In 2023, he was second team All-ACC and All-ACC academic team. So a very, very smart guy, high football IQ. 2024, he was an honorable mention All-ACC and fourth All-ACC team. So overall, like what the Patriots are getting here. You can't go wrong with it. Really good value, a guy that's going to help you in the pass rush department. And like I said, guys, trench is the second most important thing in football, and that's exactly what the Patriots are building up here. But I want to get your guys' thoughts on this. We'll get into a couple of your guys' comments, what you guys are saying before we ultimately move on here. We got Elf coming back in here with another $10 donation. We had Elf in our live stream about a half hour ago giving another $10 donation. So big shout out to our boy Elf of Courage coming in here with a $10 donation. Big time supporter of the channel. Said, after a great free agency and a B-plus draft, would 8 wins be a reasonable ceiling for the 2025 Patriots? Honestly, I don't think that's the ceiling. You know, I think 8 wins is very, very obtainable for this team. Now, there's a lot of new pieces, right? I think that's the biggest question. There's a lot of moving pieces about the Patriots. There's a lot of players that have never been here before. They're going to ask this draft class to play a heavy role on top of asking last year's draft class to play a heavy role. And let's be honest, last year's draft class wasn't developed all that well. So for a good amount of the players we took last year, this is kind of like their first season. Obviously, Mike Vrabel trying to set the culture, trying to build in a new system, offensively, defensively. That can be very tough. And I think that's what can hold the Patriots back, you know, earlier on into the season. But, you know, Mike Vrabel's also been a head coach before. There's a lot of experience on this team now. I think the ceiling is probably about 9 wins, maybe even 10. I've seen some people, some analysts throw out the idea that maybe the Patriots could even get about 10 wins. So I think it's a little bit early to still say, but I would say 8 wins is very reasonable. You know, there's no reason that the Patriots can't get there. I don't think it's one of those things where you say, oh, the ceiling is 8 wins. People are going to tell you you're crazy. No, I think that's very realistic that is an area in which the Patriots can get. In fact, look, I know it's early on. Maybe this is just pure hype talking. We haven't seen these guys practice, throw on the pads yet, but I wonder if there is a world, and it wouldn't surprise me, if we get to the end of the season and it's a situation where the Patriots need to win one game to get into the postseason and they do it. Or there's a situation where, you know, let's say they need a certain team to win or lose for them to get into the postseason. Kind of like a 2023 Houston Texans where it was CJ Stroud's first year. I could see something like that happening. I could see the Patriots being like a dark horse team to make the postseason after the moves that they've made so far. But guys, what are your thoughts on the Joshua Farmer pick? Want to hit on a couple of your thoughts here about the pick before we ultimately move on and get into the next prospect. So let's see. I see a lot of people just talking about the trade down for Mr. Irrelevant. It looks like a lot of you are big fans of that. Let's see. Red Sox comes in here and says, thoughts? The defense is going to be great this year. I feel much better about where the Patriots are getting. I mean, again, the trenches are the second most important thing in football, and they moved the needle tremendously in the trenches. You look at the offensive line, the Patriots have upgraded at center. The Patriots have upgraded at right tackle vastly. Morgan Moses is a insane upgrade over DeMontre Jacobs, okay? And then you have Will Campbell, a massive upgrade over what you got from Vidarian Lowe and company over on the left side. So the offensive line is significantly better. You look at the defensive line, the Patriots were one of the worst teams in pressure, in sacks, in stopping the run. Now you add Milton Williams, you get Christian Barmore back, you get Harold Landry, who's really good at cleaning up. Like Harold Landry's not, going to come in and be one of the best pass rushers on your team, but he's really, really good in cleaning up plays and making sure that the quarterback gets on the ground. I think that's valuable for the players the Patriots have. And even outside of the starters, you look at the depth that the Patriots are building up. Keion Chason as a pass rusher for depth off the edge, really, really good. Joshua Farmer, a depth piece in the pass rush for the interior of the defensive line. it's not just the starters that got upgraded, but it is the depth in the trenches that the Patriots are getting here that I'm really, really happy about, because I think it's going to go a long way. I think we're going to notice that the depth they're bringing is going to make a big, big difference, come the fourth quarter. Ashton says he's loving our pick so far. Patriots Talk DTN comes in and says, I love the Farmer pick. Could be an insurance policy for the defensive line. I agree with that statement too, because the other thing to remember is that, Christian Barmore, he's back, baby, but what are you getting with Christian Barmore? Christian Barmore got better every single year since he was drafted in the second round of 2021, but now he missed essentially all of 2024 with blood clots, which is a major, major health concern. So what are you getting from Barmore? When is he going to return to Barmore's form that we saw in 2023 when he broke out? And does he ever return to that form? With Farmer, you're getting a little bit of that insurance policy with getting a guy that can be a valuable pass rusher from the interior of the D-line. Tez Johnson to the Bucs, man. Tez Johnson should have went to the Broncos. He's actually the adopted brother of Bo Nix and his family. I thought he was guaranteed to go to the Broncos, but Tez to the Bucs makes a ton of sense. Xavier Restrepo falling this much is crazy, but he didn't really have a good pre-draft process. That 40 time was like a 4.6, and he told people, he was like, oh, the 40 time essentially doesn't matter. It just matters what you see on tape. And bad combine. Senior Bowl was very, very underwhelming. Xavier Restrepo, man, a 7th round pick. Crazy that Shador fell all the way to like the 4th, 5th round. Insane. And this 7th round is flying too. By the way, guys, we're also going to be on Bleacher Report as soon as the 2025 NFL draft comes to a close to break down all of the picks also. But guys, we have a lot of players that we still got to break down. In fact, we have, oh my God, who do we have to still break down here? So we have made a breakdown video on every other selection, but we have a couple more guys we have to break down. So we still have to break down Braden Swinson, the edge rusher out of LSU. Big fan of that one. We got to break down Andreas Borregales, the kicker out of Miami, who we've talked about Borregales so many times on this channel during the pre-draft process. So no surprise he's here in New England. I thought it was really between Borregales and Ryan Fitzgerald. And then, of course, you got Marcus Bryant in the 7th round, offensive tackle out of Missouri. I think we've talked about him on this channel before, too. I think we've mocked him a few times. But he's also a guy the Patriots drafted. We have to do a live stream for each of those guys. So, guys, we have a lot of content still popping out for you guys today. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification so that you guys get notified every single time we post, every single time we go live. If you guys are on Twitter, make sure to hit that link in my bio. Come on over to YouTube, subscribe so that you get notified when I post. You guys on Twitter only get notified when I go live. You don't get notified when I post a video, a short community post, all of that good stuff. We got my boy SGT Moonshine coming back in here with a $10 donation. Moonshine, who just became a Patreon member and gave us a donation in our last live stream earlier today. Big, big shout out to SGT Moonshine. Everybody in the chat, give it up for him and Elf of Courage. He comes in and says, just realized at the end of the draft, we will have selected 11 players. And so far, I'm not upset about any of them. Big turnaround after the last couple years. Man, I think you hit the nail on the head with that comment. I mean, I have not seen Patriots fans really come together as a community, be this happy with the draft class in a long time. I thought last year's draft class, now looking back, I don't want to say too much about last year's draft class. We're only 1 year in, but obviously we felt really good about that draft class in the moment. Now there's some picks that we're questioning a little bit, but nonetheless, I thought last year's draft class was definitely a step in the right direction versus what we've seen from Bill Belichick's drafts over the last few years. So far, I don't think the Patriots have really reached, at least in my opinion, they haven't really reached on any player. I think for the most part, they're getting really good value. Heading into the draft, the Patriots had, I want to say, 17 open roster spots. So they're going to have an opportunity to not just draft a good amount of players, but the Patriots are going to have an opportunity to bring in a good amount of UDFAs. And of course, after they bring in the UDFAs, I'll make a video breaking down the top UDFAs, who are those guys to watch, who can make the Patriots' potential final roster. So SGT Moonshine, I think you hit the absolute nail on the head with that one. But guys, we're going to log off for this one. Joshua Farmer, New England Patriots select him here. They trade back up end of the 4th round. This is the reaction and analysis for that pick. What are your guys' thoughts? Let me know in the comment section below. Leave a big like on the video on your way out. Subscribe if you are new. The majority of our viewers actually aren't subscribed to the channel. So if you aren't subscribed, you love what you're seeing, you want to support the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Consider becoming a member of the channel. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Patriots Global. And until about, what, a half hour? Until a little bit later, guys, until the next draft breakdown, I will see you guys later. Go Pats.